Hi guys, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whenever you're watching this. Hello and welcome to the Bluestone Villa. I am so excited to have you here today for my luxury bedroom tour. If you've been here before, then I'm sure I don't need to give you an introduction, but if you haven't, hello and welcome. My name's Louisa, I'm 37 years old, I work in marketing, and I'm obsessed with other people's homes, particularly old homes, and I have had an absolute love and passion for older properties since I was a little girl. I live here at the Bluestone Villa with my partner James. We have been renovating and decorating this house for the last 4 years, and if you have been around and you have watched some of our bedroom makeover series, then you will know that we started this room 3 years ago. We finished like the canvas of the space, so like the walls and fitting the carpet and all of that jazz 2 years ago, and then it's been a year since we moved some furniture and also ourselves into the room. So I'm so embarrassed that I've never really finished off and rounded off that whole kind of makeover series with a proper room tour. But truth be told, I just really have wanted to share some of these things when they're absolutely perfect, when they're finally finished, when they look the absolute ultimate best, with every piece of furniture, every snag resolved. And truth be told, the fact that I'm here 4 years since we started renovating this house and 3 years since we started this room just goes to show you that probably if I held out until the very end, you would never ever see this video. So in 2023, I've just decided to kind of embrace where we are right now and share some of the rooms that I've been holding off on sharing because I've wanted them to be or look a certain way. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed today's video. I'm going to be sharing the very bleak before of this bedroom, hopefully what you'll perceive to be the very beautiful after of this bedroom, all of the decisions that we made in the in-between, and I'll of course share what it is we have left to do in here. When we moved into this house, we didn't move into this room because it had a very interesting architectural feature or decision made for it that we just thought was a little bit weird. I don't know, let me know what you think, but we thought it was a little bit weird. Basically, we had an electric shower over here, which is where my current wardrobes are, and yeah, the estate agents actually had the cheek of writing en suite on the details, but it was just a shower cubicle that if you were in it, you would step out and you would step straight onto the carpet, and whoever was in bed would just be able to watch you shower, which, you know, maybe some of you guys are into that, but we just couldn't get our heads around it. So we never moved into this room. We absolutely never used the shower. We just used this space as a bit of a dumping ground. And a few months into owning our house in 2019, James actually ripped the shower out himself. He said it was actually really difficult. It was very well put in. Basically, our house was rented out for I think like 8 to 10 years before we bought it, so we think that the shower was put in for the purpose of renting the property, because we have a very weird and not the greatest bathroom, so I think they were trying to kind of make sure that it appealed to renters as much as possible. In terms of what like the overall room looked like, it was very much like what the rest of our house looked like. It was, you know, not in a terrible state, but it was pretty bleak. It was very dirty, scuffed kind of magnolia walls and a lovely office style kind of brown carpet throughout. It had plastic like office style blinds. Yeah, it wasn't anything crazy disgusting or crazy terrible. It just wasn't, didn't feel nice, didn't feel good. My overall kind of look and feel and ideas for this bedroom was that I really wanted it to be a calming space. First of all, I think, you know, sleep is really important. Sleep is something that I really struggle with quite a bit. Sometimes like wake up and can't get back to sleep for hours on end. So I really do buy into that idea that you want to create kind of a restful space that you feel happy and comfortable in. I also really wanted something that was not too feminine, because I'm obviously conscious that this is James's bedroom as well. So I wanted it to be something that felt simple enough that James felt really comfortable in here as well, but yet it still also had that kind of feminine touch to it. And probably mostly out of everything, and what I think and hope you will agree that I have been able to create here is that I really did want it to be a really luxurious look and feel. I wanted it to be really elegant. I wanted it to look really special. I wanted it to look expensive. I think I probably described a long time ago on this channel that I really wanted it to be like a hotel bedroom, but actually when I really thought about that, like a lot of hotel bedrooms aren't anywhere near as nice as this one, I don't think. I think maybe I'm thinking of like boutique hotel or something like that. That's kind of like the vibes that I wanted to go for. When we were planning this bedroom and kind of where we were going to put stuff, one of the things I really wanted to do was to open up this fireplace. I know our next door neighbours, having seen their kind of like estate agent details, I know that theirs is still open in their room, and I think probably some of our other neighbours are as well. I really wanted to do that. That was like my dream. But sadly, and I shouldn't really complain, should I really, we have a slightly different setup to a lot of our neighbours in this room. So we have this amazing bay window at the front, but then we have a window that's like right behind where you are right now, and it's kind of just one sash window. And basically the reason we think we have that versus any of our neighbours is because for the first probably about 60 years of this house, from like the 1880s onwards, you would have been able to see the church that is near us. We live in a part of our town that from probably like the 1850s was considered like the new part of town. There was a lot of development going on here in the Victorian era at that time, and so churches were being built as a result. Subsequently in the 40s, we then gained a next door neighbour, and I don't know, that might have impeded a little bit of that view, I'm not sure, but obviously since then, you know, other families have moved in there, there's been development of that house next door, and now you can only see like the side of the house and the roof of next door, plus maybe like the very top of the steeple. But yeah, as a result, I lost the battle for opening up the fireplace. James really didn't want to have a bed up against a window. I actually think that we could have made it work. I actually then think we would have been able to put a wardrobe on each side of the fireplace, and we would have had a wardrobe each and more storage, but I'm just gonna leave that quietly here. So in terms of what we did in here, it was a room that definitely needed a lot more work than we first anticipated. So as I said, it was a bit bleak, but it was kind of fine, and so shouldn't have required, I think, as much work as we actually ended up doing. There were a multitude of very small hidden sins in this room. So for example, we knew that we had to replace the picture rail that would have been where the electric shower was, for example. But then when we got started on other parts of the room to prep the picture rail in other parts of the room, we realized that there was a section by the fireplace that was just completely different design. So we had situations like that, like where you thought you kind of like were ready to go with something, and then a silly little something like that would arise. The challenge we had with some of those like original features was that you can't easily or readily buy those now. We actually found some great joiners whilst we did this project. The joiner stuff is kind of funny now because it was not cheap. We used local joiners to do our skirting boards, or I think in the US you guys call them baseboards, but yeah, so we use them to replicate the original skirting board in places that we didn't have any, or that it was just really badly damaged. The reason I find it really funny and a bit ridiculous that we spent the money is because all of the bits that we replicated and James tirelessly put in for us are hidden by a piece of furniture, so it kind of seems a little bit pointless that we even did it, but yeah. You'll also notice that we have panelled this room, or faux panelled I should say, because it's actually not proper panelling, it's just pine mouldings that we've put on the wall. This was the first time we'd ever done anything like that, and we were a little bit nervous. James didn't really want to do it. It was obviously my vision, classic, to do, but I was really keen on doing it. It's not something that would have been in this room originally. It's not necessarily, you know, something that would have ever been in a house like ours originally. But I really loved the idea of it. Thought it would add a point of interest in the room. I thought it would make it that kind of little bit more elevated and elegant. And yeah, we decided to give it a bit of a go. James and I decided that we were going to keep it really simple because we hadn't done it before and we were a bit unsure of how that was going to look. And we basically allowed ourselves to be guided by the wall space as to how we determined how many panels, the size of those panels, etc. I have a whole video that follows us doing that, so I will link that above and below if you want to kind of see what it looked like before and how we kind of did it all. We just got these from Wix, but you can get kind of mouldings like this from loads of different places. We have two areas where there are windows, like I said earlier. So we have this big bay window here, and then we have another kind of sash window just over here. And the windows are ugly AF. I don't know. I think there is like no kind of way to put it, to be honest. We have traditional windows in terms of the type of thing that would have been here originally, but they're not the original windows. They're UPVC, and they are the ugliest, probably cheapest type of UPVC somebody could have put in here. Really, really horrible. They've taken out like the wall bit there, and that's all plastic as well. It's just really not very nice. We didn't change the windows in our house because when we bought this house, we bought this as a long-term house but not a forever home. I think the longer we're here, the more we think maybe we could be here forever, but it's not set in stone and it's not something we're seriously considering right now. And so we could have ended up spending like, I think probably like upwards of 25k on windows, and it was just budget that we didn't have to spend on something that really realistically didn't need to be done, because these do the job, right? They're just not really how I'd like them to look. When we painted this room, these windows looked worse than they've ever looked in any other room, I think, because we have painted the room white, and these were a real weird mix of like a white and a magnolia creamy yellow colour. I actually ended up spray painting these windows in order to just make them look a little bit smarter and like they fit in the room a bit better. So I used a Rust-Oleum spray paint called Antique White, I think. It's not perfect, I'm not gonna lie. I did like tape up some of this stuff, but there is definitely overspray. And yeah, just don't look too closely, basically, is my memo to you all. In terms of the colour, the room is painted in just Dulux's Brilliant White. I think, again, if I was kind of doing this bedroom again, I might consider a slightly warmer white. We used a lot of Brilliant White by Dulux in other areas of the house, just for like ceilings and also in our hallway, just because we were new to doing anything, and it was like, oh, just like, let's just pick a white, and I wanted something that was like clean and bright. I actually think this room can take it because it is south facing, so apart from today where it is very gloomy, very windy, very rainy, it's very, very sunny in this room. And because we have the big bay window and then the side window as well, we do get a lot of light in this room, whether it's dark like today or really, really beautiful, bright and sunny. And so it never feels like cold in here. We always use trade paint when we use the Dulux Brilliant White, because it just means you don't have to use as many coats, and it's got really good coverage. It is a bit more expensive to buy from the outset, but I think totally worth it when you don't have to do as much work, is kind of my perspective on that. Hi, I hope you can see me properly, because I can't see me properly in the screen. Probably some of my favorite features are here. So we actually put this ceiling rose in. This was from Stevenson's of Norwich. It's actually, I don't think, a traditional Victorian design. I think it's a much more modern take on a ceiling rose. It's very simple. It's just kind of got this like ring effect. I think ceiling roses are a beautiful feature that I think that you can put into any home, and I think you can add character to the bleakest and most boring of rooms. This is a new addition, but this was definitely the dream. I had a very similar chandelier to this on my kind of mood board for this room when we were first doing it, but we actually only bought it just before Christmas just gone, so Christmas 2022. So this is a new and one of our final kind of additions to the room. This chandelier is, I think it's meant to be like bronze effect, but actually I don't think it looks like bronze, if I'm honest. But I kind of don't mind the mixing of metals. This is the large version of the chandelier. It's from the White Company. There are 450 of these glass things, and we put all of these on by hand, obviously. This large version of this chandelier was £450. They do a smaller one for 350. I actually waited until there was a discount of 20%, so actually I ended up paying only just over what the small one costs to get the large one, and I really think it finishes the ceiling area perfectly. It's so beautiful, love it. Very hard to get the right angle for this bit, but these are our faux built-in wardrobes. Us, like so many others on the internet, have done the IKEA Pax hack. We just got like a plain white wardrobe, and then James put the same mouldings that we've used on the walls on here, and then he used kind of a very beautiful kind of detailed piece of kind of cornice to go around the top, and again some kind of stuff around the bottom. This is one of the unfinished pieces. We have for the last year been opening our wardrobe with a piece of brown sticky tape, and we will continue to do so until I finally purchase our wardrobe handles. The bone of contention, the window that, you know, stopped my dreams coming true, but we also put in this cast iron radiator in here. We have put cast iron radiators in every room that we have renovated so far. I just really love how beautiful they look. I love the nod to the period of the house. Truth be told, our house would never have had cast iron radiators, I don't believe. I don't think our house had any kind of central heating until the 90s, based on some of the research I did. We bought this from Cast Iron Radiator Centre. We have bought all of ours from Cast Iron Radiator Centre, and this is kind of one of their short versions. And we have bought the kind of like brass details to go with it. This is the only one that we've actually put on a plinth. And the reason for that is because we were having this carpet fitted, and it is obviously a very light coloured carpet, and it was quite an expensive carpet. It was probably the most expensive thing in this room, I think. I was really nervous about the idea of taking out this cast iron radiator to have the carpet fitted and then refitting this. So we built it on a plinth because our view was then that we could have the carpet fitted around the plinth, and you wouldn't have to worry about taking the radiator out and the possibility of this like awful dark sludgy stuff that's in it getting on this beautiful cream coloured carpet. This bed is actually one of the first things I picked out for this room. We bought it from Love Your Home. and I think the color, it looks slightly different on camera than it does here, and it looks slightly different on their website than it does here as well. It looks like a much paler, softer blue on their website, but it's kind of a bit more of a tealy blue, gone with kind of like darker, kind of like mahogany feet. And yeah, I just think it looks really lovely. It's a velvet headboard. I think it's really simple. I think it's really elegant, and I think the color works perfectly in this room. We have an Emma mattress in here, which we have the premium version, and I would absolutely order again. We love it so much. I have two real amazing steals here. First of all, you might recognize this type of cushion. So this type of cushion is, you can see a lot in the White Company. I actually found this in Aldi middle aisle randomly on a Thursday shopping, and whilst I would love the White Company version, and the White Company version is definitely better quality material, etc., you know, sometimes when you see these things, you know, you just need to go for them, because you don't need to buy the expensive item every time, right? And yeah, I'm really chuffed with these. They look great. And then I bought these cushions in HomeSense, so I think I paid maybe like $14.99 for each of these. And yeah, even though they're a different color blue, I think they work together, maybe not as well when they're next to each other like that, but with the white in between, I think they work really nicely. You'll notice I'm also color coordinated for today's video. This was the first piece of furniture that we actually bought for this room. I bought this from somebody local to us here in Kent, that she does these, she paints up these amazing bits of furniture. I have a small obsession with marble topped pieces of furniture, and I just knew that I wanted kind of French style marble topped bedside tables. They are painted in Farrow and Ball railings. Again, I think the color really complements the room. Yeah, this is my little piece of heaven up here. I've got my lamp from Hills that I've had since I lived in a tiny 2 up 2 down cottage with my sister. This picture here is, it looks like a watercolor, but actually it's a watercolor effect of a picture I took in New York of Woman's Rink. My sister actually did it for me for Christmas one year. I have my neon diffuser, which I absolutely adore. Please excuse my Boston mug that has got my tea in. And I've just got a couple of my beauty products that I'll use in the evening, plus also like a room and linen spray, a neon perfect night sleep candle. As I said earlier, I'm really into kind of sleep hygiene because I am not the best of sleepers. This piece we only bought very recently. I think we bought it last summer. I have shared it on here before, again from the same woman that did our bedside tables. This is actually, I think, quite a cheap-ish piece of furniture, and it is painted in pigeon, kind of a totally different color to, or shade to, the other blues. I think it's actually technically more of a gray, but I think it really works. It looks, I think, way more expensive than it was. I bought this in her sale, and I think I only paid about £150 for it. I haven't actually styled it up yet. I've not really bought things to style it up yet. I've just got some perfumes on here, and yeah, it sits just below our TV, which I'm not going to scan this up too much because it like flickers, I guess, because it's like an LED screen or something. But it's one of the Samsung picture TVs. Probably one of our biggest regrets with this room is this here. It was just one of those things that you don't actually think about at the time. So James spent an inordinate amount of time feeding certain wires under floorboards and through ceilings and all of that jazz. And I guess the one thing we didn't really think about was the wires coming out of the TV. I think when we bought the TV, James thought that it was like cordless, that you could just like, I don't know, like Wi-Fi connect it with a box or something, and it transpired after we bought it that was not the case at all. And so we've had to trail the wires down and put some of that blooming like plastic casing on it. It spoils the effect of the paneling a little bit there, but it is what it is. We actually have that as one of our snagging items because It needs to be fitted a little bit better and actually like stuck to the wall, and James is also going to paint it in the same paint colour as the rest of the wall, so hopefully it blends in a little bit more. And also once I finally kind of buy stuff and start styling up that chest of drawers, I'll be able to kind of disguise it maybe by like a vase of some kind or something. Other things that we are still yet to do in here, so you will notice that we have these kind of like white blinds. Lots of people think they're our real blinds. They're paper blinds. They are blinds in a box. They cost about £40 and you can cut them to whatever size you need, and that's all they are. We've had them up for a year. I have been speaking to a woman about getting kind of curtains and blinds in here. She probably has left me for dead now because I've not got in contact with her for like 6 months. But that is very much on my list for this year. It's just such an expense, and I'm just in two minds of what we want, and I'm really scared about spending that money on something then that I'm not 100% happy with, or that I might quickly change my mind on. And then the other kind of like last element that we need to sort out is the handle on our bedroom doors. So we want to put the kind of Victorian rim locks back on. So yeah, we're on the hunt at the moment for like what ones those might be to do throughout the whole house, so it won't just be in here. Thank you so much for joining me today at the Bluestone Villa. I really hope you enjoyed having a little bit of a nose around my bedroom. I'm really glad to finally share it in more detail with you. It's been really lovely to kind of reminisce as well, because I think it's really easy when you're doing a long, slow redecoration or renovation or whatever, that it's really easy to forget everything that you've done and what you've achieved, and you can just end up focusing solely on what you haven't done, what you've still got to do, the disaster zones, the dumping grounds that still exist. And yeah, it can be a bit demotivating sometimes. So it's quite nice to be able to look back and think, oh, actually, like, this was such a different space before. If you are thinking about doing something similar, or you're about to embark on your own kind of bedroom renovation, then I'm absolutely happy to answer any questions, share any lessons learned, where we got anything from, and yeah, hopefully maybe I'll do like an updated tour at some point down the line once kind of the very, very last bit are in. But otherwise, thank you for coming. I hope you'll come again. I have some other kind of mystery room tours that I've not shared with you, of projects either that we've done with you and not shared the end result of, or ones that we didn't document but that I would still really love to share with you. I hope you have an amazing rest of your day, and I will see you next time. Bye.